3, 2, 1, go. Welcome to Grounds After Rounds.
So, we don't really have much of an intro. This is our intro. So welcome to On the Creek. Welcome to Grounds After Rounds.
Yeah.
We are joined by the one and only Mel McCamley, who Mel and I just spent 4 quality days, right? Three quality days together. Felt like 19 quality days together. And as Nicole told me last night when I was total sidebar. So yesterday's workout, row, that 2K row, then the 3 rounds for time thing, and then a 5-minute AMRAP. And you go 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. And right, like relatively simple. I, of course, didn't want to squat a whole lot, so I modified it. I got a little pukey, but it was great. Like I definitely looked at my whoop afterwards, and it was like a 12.6 or 12.7 strain. I was like, oh, I may have gone a little too hard. The rest of the day, I'm like, just completely smoked. And Nicole's like, yeah, you dumbass, because you did like 3 weeks worth of workouts in 3 days last week, and you haven't taken a rest day really. I'm like, I rested on Monday.
I have not done anything since Saturday.
Well, for those who don't know, Mel just completed the age group online qualifier, as did I, and we did all of the 5 events together, which was awesome. Super grateful and happy that you came up and joined me at the gym.
Yeah, it was great.
And so Eric reached out and said, do you want to be on the podcast? And he said yes.
Yeah.
And then he didn't show up.
Oh, Eric.
But yes, so as he says, the show must go on, of course. So we go on, and yeah. So welcome.
Thanks.
Yeah, where are you calling in from, so people geographically can get a sense, because we're not.
So I am at home right now. We're in the classroom at our house, but in Shady Side.
So you're basically like northern West Virginia. What's that down there?
Yep, pretty much. I mean, not much around here, so.
I always love when you describe I can see the Bay Bridge, and it would probably be faster for me to get there by boat than it would be to drive. Yeah, all the way out the peninsula, all the way up.
All the way back up and around. Yep. So, and we don't have much down here, so it's just houses and water and a couple bars.
There you go. Everything South County would want.
Yes.
Oh, very cool. Well, as you know, as I said, I warned you, we start with a joke. I have one. So you don't follow Instagram, but there's a guy on Instagram that does GIFs and memes called Chalk Llama, who is absolutely hilarious. And I convinced Nicole that she should start following the Chalk Llama feed, and she did. And now I feel like that was critical. She actually enjoys CrossFit based or CrossFit themed things now, which is kind of fun. So she showed me one of his memes last week, or yesterday. There's one baby who's got like eyebrows, like dark brown, black eyebrow, like they're like pasted on, and a mustache, and it says me mixing pre-workout something, and then like a brand named like pre-workout coffee and whatever, and that baby's like, and the other and the other baby is the WOD, and then it's like the parent like trying to reach and hold, and it's called Coach. And that like idea of the baby with and she's just like, look, there's a baby with eyebrows painted. Right? It's hilarious.
Goodness. All right.
But you got one? You did your research?
Well, I Googled it real quick. The first one I got, I wanted to get Nola to come in and do it because we're working on fractions. Nola's in 3rd grade. It's been a little bit of a struggle, but there's a fine line between a numerator and a denominator.
Oh, I like that
one. A fraction of the people will get that joke.
And there's a follow-up.
That was the very first one that came up. And I mean, yesterday we had a huge breakthrough with it. but it was a couple days that we were struggling. So that was like
That's
the
awesome.
first one. It was meant to be.
That is cool. That would be tough for me to tell. I'm as we get out of this like social separation, I'm finding some people choose to be dietary vegans. Well, I'm a social vegan. Yeah, I avoid meats. That wasn't that great. Sometimes I'm better, sometimes not. Like I try to incorporate them into something. Somebody broke into my house and only stole my coffee maker, my lamp, and my parrot. I don't know how they sleep at night. Coffee.
Oh, lamp and a parrot.
All right, we're out. That's it. Done. Episode over. See you folks next week.
Yep. See you next. I'll see you at the gym. No. Only if you're at 5 a.m. though.
That's right. So yes. So Mel, for those who don't know, has started coming to our 5 a.m. class, which is awesome. Tries to make it up once or twice a week.
Yep.
Maybe we'll take a it's fine. I just had this conversation with somebody today, very briefly, about the origin of sort of CrossFit in the Annapolis area, and how sort of that 2009, 2010, 2011 timeframe, right? CrossFit still was, I would say, from an affiliate standpoint, not new, but there weren't more than maybe 2,000 or 3,000 affiliates worldwide at that point, and so we met at CrossFit Annapolis, but I don't really remember if you were already there, if I was already there, like.
So I started at CrossFit Annapolis. It was November of 2011.
Okay.
I say no, it was pretty much December. But then I got pregnant 3 or 4 months later. And I was pretty I would come here and there. I would do a pull up here, touch my toes there. Really just to see people. But back then in 2011, not many women were pregnant and CrossFitting. So it made me a little nervous. But then I remember the first time I met you and Nicole, it was after Nola was born. I had heard of you because you were at the 6 a.m. with John Klessinger. There's this new guy and he gives John Klessinger a run for his money. And I didn't really know John, but I knew that he was good.
That was the burpee. That was when I got named Burpee Boy, because
I remember that.
The 2012 Open, I beat him in the 7 minutes of burpees, and he was pissed.
So Nola was born in December of 2011. So that Open, I didn't do it, but I remember hearing about the burpees and that you guys went at it. But we met at, it was for a Whole30 meeting. Do you remember doing?
Oh, yes.
We were sitting around waiting, and you had told me a story that I won't forget.
Oh no.
You were just saying something about because the boys were young, and you're like, man, I can't even go to the bathroom without fingers sticking underneath the door. They're just always there. And I was like, oh, I just started this. Things I didn't even think about. Oh yeah, no, I still have fingers coming under the door, but. Oh
yeah. Ours don't do that now because they're 17 and 15.
That's good.
But what they do is they flush you're in the shower and they flush the toilet, or right, they're home all the time now, and so they have all day to do whatever they're going to do, but somehow we're all apparently on the same cleaning schedule that the second you get into anything, they all appear. And the difference being now when they appear, which is still fine. I was actually, Nicole and I were talking about this last night. I was like, I'm sure these are the times when I will look back and be like, man, I miss them. I wish they were here, blah, blah, blah. And so I check myself, but 3 of them coming into the kitchen is fine in a sense, but they're grown ass boys at this point. They're taller and bigger than I am. Yeah. And they bring their 2 and 3 friends. So there's 7 to 8 huge human beings just bumping into each other because they're still puppies and they have no idea where their extremities are. And you're just like, oh my God, get out of the house. You have to leave now.
Yeah, I can't even imagine that. I'm glad. I have 3 girls. And I can't imagine what that's going to be like in a few years, but 3 boys, I don't know.
So, all right. So CrossFit Annapolis, 2012-ish time frame. And I get lost on the timing too. We fast forward, Ellen split away, started Old Bay. I went with her, Ryan went with her, and we basically started coaching. Like I was kind of the morning, he was the afternoon, evening. Nicole had that 7:15. Ellen filled in from time to time, but you were a pretty consistent presence at that point. And
I just got my level 1 when she opened. So I actually shadowed you. I don't know. Do you remember that? I shadowed your classes.
Nice. Good. Yeah. I do. Of course I do. Of course I do. Well, what it is, it just kind of starts to blend in because then we did like some comps together. You know what I mean? Like the McCamleys have always been sort of in our circle, in my circle. And so, you know what I mean? Like I start to forget.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Unless it's like my buddy Andy. I distinctly remember the first time I met him because he had sent me, I'm running the blocks at Blue and Gold, and he sends me an email like, hey, I'm going to be transferring to the Naval Academy, and I was just thinking I want to stop in and do a workout. And my rule was I never responded to any of those types of emails because it was a waste of time. 9 times out of 10, 99 out of 100, nobody ever showed up. So I was like, if they're going to do it, they'll show up. And he comes walking in at the lunchtime hour when, I would work out, and he had a plastic grocery bag, like an old one. It had like holes in it. So he has a plastic grocery bag with his shitty ass shoes. Then he's wearing shitty ass Innovates, and he's got knee sleeves on, and he's carrying a Diet Coke, and he may have had like wrist wraps or something. And I remember, and like an old school, like, if you don't puke in a workout, you suck type of CrossFit shirt. You know what I mean?
Right.
With probably some misogynistic saying on the back or something.
Right.
And I was like, oh, all right, this guy will work. You'll fit. You'll be all right. And we've stuck ever since. But that, fast forward now, here we are, spring of 2021. CrossFit journeys go like this.
Yeah.
Age group online qualifier comes out. You make it. How'd you get here? How'd this year play out?
How did I get here? Well, 10 years, 10 plus years. I was over at TrueCore for a few years. COVID happens. I have 3 girls, working out a lot at home. I can't make it in. I have the girls all the time. I'm super lucky to be a stay-at-home mom. And nap time turned into my time. My older 2 would go out and play, and the rule was, hey, if you want a good mom, you leave me alone.
That's a good rule.
And
good girls.
It probably sounds not fantastic, but they know, like, I'm with them.
I guarantee you there isn't a single person listening to this that didn't just go, oh, I like that. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. Like I'll hear like the door open, like a head peek out, or like they'll just stand next to me. I'm like, go away. Somebody's like, no, okay. Just it's at least an hour. And, if I'm warming up or lifting or something, I can talk to them. But if it's like in the middle of a Metcon, no.
Yeah.
So, I guess from March of last year up until about January this year, it was just me. I'd drop in at a friend's house. I'd try to go once a week. It really turns into like twice a month just to see people. January comes, it's cold. It's really cold. Yeah. I don't have a garage. I have a driveway that I've been working out in. So, and I have to build the gym. So we're super lucky with what we have. I have a squat rack with a pull-up bar, weights, more than enough weights that I need. My husband, Ryan, who's been in CrossFit longer than I have, is actually able to start working out again. So we're trying to work out together. Some things come up with his work. I kind of hit a wall. I reached out to Fairwinds,
info at fairwinds.crossfit.com. And that was funny. I like that story.
Hey,
yeah. Is this you? Wait, why'd you go through the website? Just text me.
I had left TrueCore in October. I didn't want anything, like, hey, we're friends. Like, can I get something? It's just, I wanted to do it the way everybody else does. So yeah, asked if I could drop in once a week. I needed to see people. I needed to work out without my children there. So 5 a.m. it is. And so I get up at 3:50 to come and work out.
If anybody listening is curious about the amount of commitment required to be consistent, right? That word in the middle of our 3 values, it's not easy, right? Like I think that one's quite possibly the hardest one, is the consistency.
Yeah.
It's not fun, right? Like the curiosity gets fun. Courage, hey, it happens, right? Like you just, that can be a habit you build, but consistency takes work every single effing time.
And I think me coming in, it's just once a week. If I came in more, I mean, a couple times I've come in twice a week, but if it was more, I think it would be way harder.
The grind.
Usually my Whoop tells me I'm waking up in the green when I wake up on those days. I don't understand it. So it's saying that I'm recovered and that I've slept enough, and it's telling me I'm ready to go. I don't believe it all the time, but but yeah, coming in once a week, I got used to wearing 4 layers out, working out outside. I actually PR'd my deadlift. It was like 33 degrees out.
Maybe it was all the clothes it gave you. It was like wearing a belt. You were wearing like a powerlifting suit, and it boom. Yeah. Oh, this is awesome. I need to wear more sweatpants. That was like my pistols with those knee sleeves. That was game changer.
That one.
I have knee sleeves arriving today from Amazon. Yeah, I'm super excited. I've crossed over to the dark side. But so we talked about it a little bit beforehand. Prepping for the open, and we can use different language here. Training for the open, prepping for the open, and for those that aren't familiar, right? The Open 2021, Eric and I have talked about it ad nauseum on here. I wrote about it on the blog for a while, just about its return to the springtime has been awesome. This year, the Open was only 3 weeks, which was great. Dave Castro and his sneaky merry band of fitness elves figured out a way to still squeeze in 4 workouts, 4 events, which was awesome. Give us a little insight into prepping / training for the Open versus sort of this new thing, because I would say for both of us, we have not made it to the next stage before, right? For a while there, it was the Open and then regionals. Good luck. Then it was the Open and the Masters online qualifier, but that top 10% or that top 200 was always it's still just out of reach. But this year there was the Open, and now that top 10% totally made it. It was awesome. What was that experience for you as far as sort of your normal Open prep and training, and now this new thing, this next stage?
So, training for the Open, it really didn't change too much. In those 3 weeks, it looks a little bit different. So I would do the workout. So the workout's released Thursday. I would do the workout Friday. And then for 2 of them, I redid it on Sunday, maybe Monday. But
did you get any better in the redo?
Yes, both times I did it. I got better. I did not redo the 3rd week. I knew that I had made the top 10%. I was happy with that. Didn't need to do it again. But really, training didn't change. I still worked out, or if I had redone it Sunday, I would still work out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, take Thursday off.
Okay.
It's not as if I went easier, but then training between, so we had the longest time for the age group qualifiers from anybody else. It was really just maintaining, where before it was trying to get stronger, trying to get better. It was maintaining, it was technique stuff. I would slow stuff down, for snatches or clean and jerks. It was lighter loads for the most part.
Okay.
Trying to get a little bit better at muscle ups, maybe, because the technique's not there, but it wasn't training as hard.
And I know you follow Comp Train. So
Yes.
were you and again, for those who don't know, Comp Train's one of the premier ones out there, started by Ben Bergeron out of CrossFit New England. Now sort of, I would say it's all fully run by Harry, right? Harry Pally.
Yeah.
Even the elite, like even the open. So Harry used to just do the masters, but he's like taking it all now, right? And
I'm pretty sure he's taking it. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
he's awesome.
They have a awesome team. They keep growing. You know, it's about an hour and a half to 2 hours a day. I don't get, it is nap time.
Yeah.
And, you know, I get in what I can. You know, sometimes Nessa's knocking at the window a little earlier. My 3-year-old, when she goes down for a nap, I go build the gym, get in what I can, and then move on with the day. So
did you find, were you following still their sort of template, but sort of doing what you needed to do within that to lighten the load, go a little easier? Sort of if level 4 training is sort of like on the floor, exhausted, you kind of bumped it down.
And I feel like I don't want to say bumped it down, but it wasn't, we could see what the other tracks were doing, like what the teams were doing. If you hadn't qualified to move on to quarterfinals or semifinals, they've already started their strength programming.
Okay.
And it's pretty intense. There's definitely a part of me that was like, oh, I want to squat. I want to press.
I would be the complete opposite. I'd kind of be like, oh God, I'm going to have to start that when this is over. Oh no.
I know that I need a strength cycle.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited to start it, but I get to see what they're doing, and ours was nothing like it. And I'm on, I have a couple friends that I text message that, you know, we keep in touch with training and how that's going. And she would send me like, oh my gosh, I feel awful. This was horrible. And I was like, oh, I'm not doing great.
I'm tapering. This is great.
I think our workouts are different, you know, and just, I'm like, but yeah, so I don't want to say it just wasn't as long the last how long has it been? 4, 6 weeks, somewhere in there.
Yeah, 6. It was like 6-ish weeks. So it's very similar. My experience was very similar. I mean, even though it was only 3 weeks long, that open, and I didn't do myself any favors this year, this go around. Like I'd kind of let things slide as far as not so much the intensity, but sort of the other stuff, the recovery, the food, the you know, accessory maintenance work, like that kind of stuff. So by the end of the open, I was a wreck. Like things just hurt, and I you know, made it the qualifier, super happy. I was like, all right, that's pretty proud of that. And then I was like, oh God, if these workouts look anything like the open the open quarterfinals and the team quarterfinals, I could be in trouble. And so I sort of did something similar of, I know what I can do athletically. I needed to sort of grease that groove a little bit of the competitor aspect that I hadn't done in a while. So boatload of EMOMs, boatload of mobility. Yeah, I was still doing the normal workout that was programmed that we were following, but at like 70%, so that I could do sort of those EMOM and stuff. And I'll tell you, it was Stacy Tovar recently posted an Instagram post of so she retired 2015, 16, I think. And her best, she was top 5, maybe top 10 for a while, but she was the seminal sort of games presence. And she was just awesome. Like just always, there's a great video actually of her playing a Ludovico Einaudi, who's an Italian pianist, her playing one of his pieces and then interspersed with her working out. And it came out the year that she retired, and it was strength after beauty, or beauty after strength, something like that, which was, it's a really cool video. She's awesome.
Yeah.
She did. Yeah, she did them. And she made a comment of like, oh no, like this may have opened a box that I haven't opened in a while, and I really like it. And she was like, my happy place. She's like, I forgot that sometimes the happiest place I have is in that competitor mode. And so that's sort of my follow-on question. Like, I know I felt that. I'm curious how, right? I know I'm not going to offend you when I say this. we had no shot of making it to the games.
Absolutely.
Right. Where the open category, they do the open, they do the quarterfinals. From the quarterfinals, they select the semifinals. From the semifinals, they will take athletes to the games. Teams, something very similar. Or no, they did their quarterfinals. Will it?
They're going to the semifinals.
Okay, so teams have a semifinals and they go to the games.
Yep.
This was it. So for the 2,044 to 40 to 44-year-old men, the 1,000 plus 35 to 39-year-old women, this was the qualifier to go to the games. No illusions that we were going to be in that top 20.
Nope.
But the question is, did you still feel like you belonged doing these, paying $50 and doing these 5 events?
Yes. So I was super nervous. Again, like looking at the workouts that they were doing the previous weeks with the team and the open, I was nervous that I don't belong here.
Right. Never going to make a time cap. I'm not going to do this. Yeah. This is silly. Yeah.
I still wanted to do it. I had finished this last open was the best finish placing that I've ever had.
That's awesome.
It was
after not being in a gym for almost a year.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
I was super excited about that. So I definitely questioned it in some ways, but knew that I wanted to try it. If I'm questioning it, then a lot of other people are also. Like when I saw the weights that they were having the open athletes do, the amount of
185, 135 snatches and burpee box jump overs, sub 2 minute, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. If I had gotten one of those snatches at 135, that would have been a PR for me, you know. But I was excited to try it and to make myself uncomfortable. I've never been, I say never. Recently, it's not, I question whether or not I can do an open workout. Like usually I can do it to some point. I've hit the skills, I can get a couple muscle ups in. I might not finish it, but I can do some of it. Where this one, I was like, I don't know if I can do anything when it came to that snatch burpee box jump over one. But it's good to feel uncomfortable. It's what I tell my girls all the time. If they're nervous for something or they get scared to do something, it's, everybody needs to feel like this. You need to be nervous. You need to be scared because life's not easy. So I was trying to kind of go off of that. If I tell them that, I kind of have to do it too. So
put your money where your mouth is type of thing. If you're going to talk the talk, you better walk it. Good for you. So, yeah, I agree. I mean, that's a very similar sort of emotional feeling on it. And I was really grateful for your recalibration. I had my 3 goals, right? Leave it on, or best effort, leave it on the table. Don't be stupid or don't get hurt.
Don't get hurt.
And and you course corrected me and you said, no, be smart, which I wish you had said that before we did the handstand push-up shoulder to overhead row workout, because that was not smart. Unbroken was not smart.
No. So I even had to be smart, and I still went unbroken that first round.
That was I have to say, so that was my favorite one, and I think from a performance standpoint as an athlete, I think we both did our worst we could have done. Do you know what I mean? I think we both left anywhere 2 to 3 minutes on the table. But it was so exciting. I mean, right?
Really good at first.
Yes. And I was like, this is awesome. And then
it wasn't.
Oh no.
It wasn't. And I had a game plan. I was like, okay, you're going to break up those handstand push-ups and shoulder to overhead early. I loved your idea for jerking it because that just didn't even come to my
and my jerks were horrible by the end. I couldn't even get under it.
But I don't know why I hadn't even thought of that. But I should have broken that up. We both should. Yeah.
Yeah. But go ahead.
I was just saying, you win or you learn. That's, one of the quotes, you either knock it out of the park, you do great, not necessarily coming in first place, but you do what you wanted to do, or you learn from it. And I feel like we both learned.
Yeah, because I would say coming back with that, well, first off, and just so everyone knows, the order that we did them in was your plan from the very get-go. I loved that sort of to get us finished by Saturday. So we had Sunday, well, worst case scenario, if we wanted to redo them, which I had no illusions of redoing any of them, but it opened up Mother's Day. It was great. It was a great schedule. But that idea of doing event 2 before last event 5, the overhead squats and the burpee box jump over, it set up you perfectly to crush that, which that was awesome. So happy for you to do those overhead squats unbroken.
Yeah.
And again, just in case anybody hasn't looked, 12-9-6, 4-time 12-9-6 reps of overhead squats into a burpee box jump over. 115 weight for the overhead squats for you, 165 for me. Both of us, though, had to use a 30-inch box. And I loved your question. You have soft boxes, right? And because it was intimidating. I didn't realize how much that was going to crush the legs and the midline. And I was smoked coming off of it. But your goal of going unbroken on those overhead squats was just aggressive and awesome, and you crushed it. And it was I knew that if I got a full round behind you, I had no shot of finishing it. And so when I hit my 6 and you were finishing, I hit my 6 overhead squats and you were finishing your burpees, I knew I had to go unbroken on that. So it was fun to make a swing at it. And I failed that last rep, that 6th rep, but it was one of those where, hey, if I get it, I'm finishing the workout. Right. If I don't, if I try to break it up, it doesn't matter because I'm not finishing the workout at that point. So that one was fun because I learned from the before of, I was very methodical and consistent earlier. It wasn't in the cards for me not to finish, or it wasn't in the cards for me to finish it. It was fine. I left it all on the table, went my best effort, but it was also a smart execution. And still, I was just very happy to watch you do that 30-inch box jump and crush them.
So I was terrified. I had not done a 30-inch box jump since I think 2016. I hadn't done one. I didn't even warm them up.
I loved that. Like it was sort of do you want to try? I didn't ask you because I knew, right? Like I was like, oh, I know she's no 3. And you had said it earlier of like when 3, 2, 1 goes. When I hear that 3, 2, 1. There's a whole nother like switch that gets flipped. And I was like, I respect that. All right. No practice. Let's do it.
So it's funny. So I sent Ryan that video. And like, I watched it a little bit later. There was probably 10 seconds between the 12 overhead squats and that first burpee box jump over. I just stood there. I did not move. I did not go down for a burpee. I just stood there. And he was like, hey, do you want to do that again? I was like, no. And that was after event 2 with all those GHD sit-ups. And I was like, nope.
Yeah. Well, no, we hadn't. Oh, right. Because then
I'm talking to him after that.
Gotcha. Yeah. Because then we did event 2. And I still like, that was as not demoralizing, not at all demoralizing, but as like debilitating as that workout then was moving forward. Your call of saving that to the last possible second that we could do was awesome. And it was fun. Like it was actually, I was talking with Andy. I would like to do that one again with less reps, right? And maybe even sort of if the pistols are the limiting factor for folks, like maybe just air squats or something. But the GHD to rope climb, as crazy as that, like you go to lift your legs and there's nothing there. I will say the GHDs opened up a lot of things for me with my like hips and those pistols. I was actually able to get up and down a lot better coming off of the GHDs.
You crushed that workout. I started to watch it and it was just too painful for me to watch my pistols. My pistols are my weakness. I stopped it after like 5 pistols. When we finished that workout, like you looked trashed after, like, cause you got to go where.
You're right. And that's a good comment of, so if we tiers, right? Like we're sort of here on the spectrum, which is fun, right? I would say still the fact that we did all 5 events and posted in top 50% of those who still posted, well done, like congratulations. Then there's like Dave. So this other guy, Dave, that we were going back and forth with, he's sort of like that next tier up. And the reality is, and this is kind of cool to see, I was talking to a guy this morning about it. Dave did awesome. Dave walks into a gym and anywhere, any affiliate in the world, and he's probably one of the best athletes in that affiliate. He's going to knock most things out of the park, whatever. And people are going to be like, oh my God, he's a freak of nature. Dave has no shot of making it to the games, right? Like that's sort of the, like you can look at his placement and the fact that he's in that 100th-ish place, absolutely phenomenal performance, but he's here. And then there's the next tier. And I was so impressed by this programming that we felt competitive. Dave felt very competitive, but the reality is, nope, not going to happen, man. Like I can look at it and I know, because if you're not under 10 minutes in event 1, if you're not finishing event 2 in the 15 to 16 minute range, if you're not doing event 3 under 9 minutes in the 8, which he did, he was actually did really well. Yeah, 8.
I think that was his best placing one.
Yeah,
like 45-ish.
Because it's actually, the cleans aren't the workout.
No,
it's your skill in double unders when tired at that high volume. If you're not, for guys, I would say, and for guys 330 or above in that front squat, did you see the heaviest women's front squat? It was in a woman in the 40 to 44 age group.
Okay, so I couldn't even see. So I saw like the second place was like 270.
307. A woman front squatted 4 reps for 307. She was the best across all age groups.
So yeah, I saw, wow. That
is insane. That is so strong.
I can't even, but wow.
I mean, that's just awesome. Like I haven't seen it. I don't know. Luis was telling me this morning, but I bet you they looked awesome too. You know what I mean? Like you don't squat that heavy if you don't look good too.
Wow.
Yeah. But then 4, so that was 4. And then event 5 with that, right? I'd say you gotta be under 3 minutes.
Yeah.
That's and no placements probably out of the top 100 as you move through if you want a shot at the games. And so your comment about what I got to taste a little bit on that GHD rope climb pistol workout, what those athletes are feeling like across all 5 events.
Yeah.
Which means at that top 20 point, like it's not like it's easy for them. Like they've just facilitated their own conditioning and their skill that they now can hurt at a whole nother level that I'm like, oh, well, that was fun. Okay. You got, well done. I'll see you in July on TV. Like, all right, very cool.
Yeah.
That's impressive. I think that to me was the best. And it was in the spirit or felt very analogous to the way that Open felt. Charlie's done with this podcast. He's ready to do something else. That I did the first 2, all 3 styles. Like I did it as RX, I did it scaled, and I did one of the I scaled or foundations, and then I did like one of the adaptive versions that best modeled, like like I didn't do even like the upper extremity or lower extremity.
Right.
And the stimulus felt very similar across all of them. As somebody who's dabbled in programming, I am blown away at how impressive the home office and Dave Castro and his team has done this year to make something accessible to such a broad, and even as the scope gets narrower and narrower, the fidelity of their ability to make something accessible to the entire spectrum that is participating. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, so that was it was fun. Did it scratch that itch for you as far as like the Huh. Well, you're doing another competition soon, right?
So yeah, I actually have a couple. I'm doing, I know, I've missed it. I have one May 22nd and then one June, I don't know, maybe June 5th or 12th. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Probably the 12th.
So this is kind of like your spring summer season. You're getting right, and that's.
Yep.
And as you know, right, you've been around the block a couple times. Like you can compete yourself right out of shape.
Yeah. So it'll take a break after that. Get back to training. I have a couple vacations.
Cool.
Kind of, take some time away.
Yeah.
Try to stay in shape a little bit, but then, yeah, come in and see what fall has, and go.
You sticking with CompTrain through this next? Okay, cool.
They're doing their strength cycles next. I really want to hit that hard. I want to get swole.
Yeah.
Need to get bigger.
Well, that is
Not bigger.
No, I understand. Yeah. And for the idea of squatting is such a foundational aspect of everything we do. That Silverback is the name of their progression, which is awesome. And it's progressive. God, what's the term for it? I can't remember. But it is percentage based, and it's overloading progressively to reestablish a new baseline of strength. And I always got that sort of any day in the gym baseline for squatting, pressing, basically front squatting, back squatting, pressing. I don't think they do a deadlift. I don't know if they do.
They don't. We're going to be pushing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's because the pressing and squatting are the two that if there's holes, generally that's where there's holes in the training. They then layer on, it's genius. They then layer on the Olympic lifts on top of that foundation or base. But I think for anyone listening who's like, well, I want to do that too. 2 hours a day of training plus, right? Like you need to then factor in probably 3 or 4 days of deliberate mobility and recovery.
Huge. Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to lose some of that Metcon capacity because they're banking on athletes who have a base so they can of sort of that cardiovascular metabolic conditioning that they can let some of that go, and then they'll work that back in November, December, January timeframe with those hellacious repeating 5-minute AMRAP, 3-minute AMRAP things. That's all I remember from CompTrain. That and a boatload of GHDs.
I guess because I don't have a GHD machine, so I haven't done them very much.
They would usually a row GHD sort of they would always have that finisher that you would do. And
we did handstand push-ups.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's right. Yep. It's good. Harry's got they got that stuff wired.
And it's fun, and I'm seeing improvement. And I have the time. Most of the time, I'm home a lot, so
it's cool. Yeah. But that also is a good. So right, I run Fairwinds in the sense of that I kind of control the programming. I have this other guy who I run things through and make sure that he's on board. But we switched over. We followed CompTrain modified for a while, for about a year or two. I liked it, left it, went to kind of my own programming, but we've adopted warm up and workout, which I would argue for 99.9% of our population, and I would actually argue for everybody, for 100%, the what we do each day isn't as important as the how we do it.
I agree with that. Yeah.
This sort of attraction of the Open was a ton of fun. The age group online qualifier, how does that benefit, but also possibly negatively impact sort of a CrossFit gym community?
So I think the Open was awesome. I think they did a really good job this year. I think, the 3 weeks and having the different, the foundations, and I think that was really good. I think once you get up to that next level, you push through a lot of things that, you know, a regular athlete or, you know, somebody who's coming in to be healthier, they wouldn't. You know, my back hurts, my shoulder hurts, you know, your knees have been bothering you, but we kind of find a way to push through it. So it's not necessarily the healthiest thing. So we're kind of going and taking this thing that's supposed to be, you know, to make us live longer and move better. And once you get to a certain level, you kind of know that you're not always doing the healthiest thing. You know, you could always mobilize more and, you know, slow down and do the right technique, but that's just not as fun. You know, I have been a lot better with that. I actually have a PT that I'm trying to go to more regularly. She's awesome. But negatively, you know, working out 2 hours a day where, you know, I'm getting ready to squat heavy, or you don't squat heavy, but squat 3 times a week. That's not the healthiest thing, but you know, you kind of take the, you know,
right. If you want to put 60 pounds on your, you want to put 60 pounds on your back squat, you want to put 40 pounds on your clean, you're going to have to get under that barbell
and
a lot.
Feel like I want to give myself a couple years. I feel like the first 8 years of CrossFit, I was having kids, I was, you know, growing babies and feeding babies. So my body wasn't mine. And now my body's mine and I kind of want to see what it can do and give myself a few years, see what happens, you know, maybe pull it back, you know, for a few years and, you know, kind of, you know, cycles, you know, compete for a little bit, pull it back for a little bit. And see where it goes. I hope to be CrossFitting till I'm.
I did this when I was at about the same age I looked at my performance this year and compared it to the 40 to 44.
Yeah.
I mean, good for you, you psycho. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, so now that they took the top 200 away, like that move on, you know, I was kind of like, I don't know what I want to do. Like my goal was to make the top 200.
Top 200, yeah.
I mean, I guess I can still have that goal. I don't get my CompTrain shirt though, saying that I made the top 200.
Right. I mean, and there's way too many people to send shirts to now.
Right. I mean, I would buy a shirt. I should send that to him. Say I would pay for that, you know, to say the top 10%. But you know, like I see, you know, it's definitely a higher percent. I wouldn't make the top 20. Like I'm not going to the games anytime. And actually, did you know a woman from Kent Island made the top 20, 40 to 44?
From Kent Island CrossFit, right?
Yeah.
Shan sent me some updates on them during the Open, and one of I don't know her name, but I think she finished 21.3 in like 11 minutes or something, or like 10 minutes. It was really good. And then complexed like 200 maybe, or like
and I've seen her before because she went to True Core for like
I think she did barbell for boobs with us too one year.
She's like my size. Like she's
not... I just remember her moving her chest to bar pull-ups were like and then like that's a really cool comment too of you can't judge a book by its cover. You can't look at somebody and look at their size, but when you see them move and you watch, front squats are a great example, right? Like I leak a ton of potential in crappy positioning because of shoulder issues, hip issues, knee issues. And so, right, like that's movement, sound mechanical movement done consistently well will always trump just doing more and more and more. And that, right, so there's that aspect, and especially as you get older, the mechanics of the movement. So that actually is sort of my take on this is, if somebody in the masters, which the majority of our population is, which is actually I think it's awesome that the masters, the age groups are now the majority and not the teens, but the masters are the majority of the participants in these competitions, right? Like we're not baby boomers, but it's sort of like the baby boomers economically are such a force. You have to think about them because they're the majority of a population. The masters in the CrossFit sphere is the majority of the population. They're not the ones that bring marquee viewing pleasure, but they do bring buying power. And so I think there's worth in, Julie Fouché has this pair that owns a gym out in Michigan that are talking about heart rate training, metabolic training. It's very similar to what Hinshaw talks a little bit about, but in the episode, they talk a lot about the details of, they're using portable metabolic, VO2 max things, testing now, that like you wear the mask and you wear a backpack and it outputs to a screen via Bluetooth, via remote. So you don't need to be, I don't know if you've ever done a VO2 max test. It used to be you're on a treadmill, you're hooked up, it's all cables coming in and out. And it's like, you have to be like this gigantic setup. It's mobile now. I don't know how expensive they are because I haven't checked yet, but they make a very good argument that training, especially at older populations, training at what the traditional or sort of cliche CrossFit intensity is not beneficial for long-term health and they would argue long-term performance, because at those higher metabolic training rates, you are mostly anaerobic versus aerobic, and aerobic allows your body to burn fat as the primary fuel. Anaerobic primarily burns sugar. And if you're primarily a sugar burner, it burns hotter, you have more inflammation, it's less efficient, you're going to beat your body up a lot more. And so if I've got a 50-year-old dude in the gym who just looks tired and beat up by Wednesday because he's been coming and this is his third day in a row, reestablishing like, hey man, you're not allowed to move faster or harder than having a normal kind of walking conversation with me, and sort of establishing that mindset of, you don't go all out all the time. I think this actually helped establish that idea that if performance and competition is still, you want to like scratch that itch, great, but you're not going to get there by just doing, you're not 22, and they can do certain things that 44, 50, 55-year-olds should not be doing. You can still perform and you can still compete if you want to, but you got to train smarter now, not just more.
And I think that was one of the things that I was just listening to a podcast that most CrossFitters and need to remember that you are training and not competing.
Yeah.
And I know
Ben has he does a really good job of that 80 10 10 or 80
and he was saying 15, even for
5.
masters it should be like 90% 90% training and then 10% competing, where it's like you look at the whole week, okay, there's this one workout one a week and everything else is just
EMOM it, right? Like that, like looking at a 5-round for time. If that's not the one workout, you want to, go to that, level 4, level 5. And I use that's the term in a lot of heart rate training, right? They, based on your percentage of your max heart rate, they tell the level. If that's not the workout that week, that's okay. Keep the same movements. Don't worry about the what, but how you execute that. Turn it into a 20-minute EMOM. Turn it into a 3 rounds for time, and just sort of extend the rest between some of those rounds. Like this competition or this year has really, for me, recalibrated how to be of better service to our population, to still get that feeling of, I'm freaking competitive. And like, I want the average participant of our gym to come in and still feel like they can compete. And there's some mental gymnastics there, but not at the expense of them not feeling good. And this is the road that happens via, is just change the execution, not what you're actually doing.
It's easier said than done sometimes.
Yeah. There's some buy-in there. And then,
win everything.
Right. And that's, so actually I pinged Sugarwad a couple weeks ago, month ago now, of like how to change some of the things that are integrated. RX, I want to get rid of the RX and scaled button, which apparently they're working on. Get rid of the gender classifications, because I think that's silly. they came back and said, well, what you could have your members do is everybody just non-select, and then there'll be no delineation. I was like, no, we're not going to do that. But then the listing one, so that it's not, you have to, as the individual member or the individual user, you can go in and change how it racks and stacks. But what was kind of cool is it came out where all of those, I feel like, are Band-Aid fixes on a different solution, which is just redefine for athletes from the very beginning why they're there. Like, what's the big why of their training? And that's actually, it take a little while. We're working on it. I think our X month challenge was a good start. And now, like, like people have a better, different, more mature way, so that people that are now showing up for the first time, they don't know what this is. Gone is sort of the feeling of like, oh, like I have to go as fast as possible. It's like, whoa, no. This is personalized. Everybody's kind of doing their own thing. We're all following the same, basic scaffolding, but we can individualize this for you, which ironically is exactly what this was from the very beginning. I think it's just, it ebbs and flows, right?
Right.
All right. Well, this was awesome. Very, very fun sort of kind of closure on the whole week for us, or the whole process for us. And so we do our gratitude. I'll go first, unless you want to go first. Would you like to go first?
No.
Okay. My gratitude is every single one of, and your Anne who came, Joe who came, like so cool. And then all of the members from our gym who showed up, plus the folks who didn't. But for me, it really kind of culminates in my buddy Andy. When you were talking about like your gym wife, Teresa, who couldn't make it, that him being there on that Thursday night, him being there Friday during the day, and then he couldn't make it Saturday, but that was fine. We only had the one to do, but we were checking in with each other and stuff. I didn't realize how much that really de-escalated. I was not expecting to feel the anxiety that I felt, and him being there was so nice, even to the point on Friday where I was starting to like get frustrated and be a little short with like how to set the GHD up and stuff. And he actually, like, he kind of just put his hand on my shoulder and was like, we got it, we'll move this up. And I was like, holy crap, thanks. Like, I was being an asshole, and he was like, but without saying.
Up on that, I mean, I should have just looked at the picture for the GHDs. That de-escalation, and I was like, that was awesome. And so he sort of manifested that as the individual, that like all of those people there watching and being a part of it, and that was just really freaking cool and fun, and it made it feel sort of that next level special, which usually I'd be like, nah, I don't need that crap. I kind of needed it, and I was really happy and grateful to have it. It was really fun. A good 3 days. My gratitude is fair winds, from January, whenever I reached out, until now. You guys were there, through a rough time. I needed people. I needed to be warm. I needed, and just once a week.
Physically warmer.
Warmer. I mean, and it was not warm. It was not warm at the gym. However, it is still warmer
than outside in your driveway.
And through the open, reaching out to you, like, I was panicked that one day that the first, like, my video was sideways. What do I do?
Oh, right.
But I was good. I can't do it again.
I read the rule book. It was okay.
And then through the age group online qualifier, it was really cool to have those people come and support. And this whole time, and I think CrossFit as a whole is really awesome with that. But, Fairwinds, you guys have welcomed me. I know I'm not super talkative at 5 o'clock in the morning, but
nobody is.
Which
is actually so funny. Story to this morning. Guy usually comes at 7, named Ed, and he shows up for the 5 a.m. super like happy and bright and like saying good morning to people and like, hey, and I was like, Ed, you're gonna have to take your 7 a.m. volume and turn it down to the 5 a.m. volume. And I'm joking, like I'm smiling, I'm joking. But right as I said that, Shannon comes walking in, hat down, just like moving right to her screen. I was like, look at Shannon, right? Shannon has the 5 a.m. vibe going on, Ed. So let's do that, okay? Let's bring it down.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I feel like Joan's pretty good at 5 a.m. So.
She is. She does a good job of balancing and kind
of. It's not
right.
over the top, like, but it's good. You know, there are definitely times I feel like she's asked me a question. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, whatever. I don't feel like talking.
No, I can't elaborate. Yeah. I don't know.
The coffee hasn't hit yet. It hasn't hit.
But yeah, I mean, you guys have been awesome. You guys have helped probably so much more than you even realize. So that's been cool.
That's very nice to hear. Sorry, pollen, maybe dog hair. I don't know. I would say the feeling is mutual too. Having you pinging me during the open and kind of like, that was nice to be like, oh, I don't know the answer to that question. So like, those are always, there's definitely a reciprocity of, it's what makes this fun, is having somebody need something and clarification or, and then, being able to be there. You definitely change the dynamic for in a positive way at that 5 a.m. class. I definitely know athletes like Joan. It's not an unhealthy competition. It is the quintessential, like, all right. That extra little push.
Yeah.
Having you there is awesome.
Everybody's trying to be a little better.
That's right. And that's all that matters.
It's been nice to be coached again too. It's been a while.
Yes. And again, right. Fun to coach an athlete like you, where you move well, but we can all move better. So yeah.
Cool.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Eric, for setting this up. I wish he could have been here. That would have been fun. I'm sure he always brings a different perspective and questions, but I feel like we did a good job. We covered all the stuff. So, all righty, Mel. Well, hopefully you and the girls do well down there. Good luck on the next competition set. And
I'll probably be in next week.
Okay.
I was looking at the program.
I'm gonna take one more week just to settle in.
So I'm gonna actually go work out here pretty soon.
Cool.
Work out with an empty barbell.
There you go. Just move. Yeah. All righty. Well, I will talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye-bye.